Good afternoon, everyone. This is Russell with Russell Does Stuff. And it's been raining for 2 days. And the ground is saturated, and then all the ants decide to come up and roam around the top of the ground. And that's why I'm wearing these boots today. I wear them for other reasons, but, gives the ants a little more of a challenge. Got a few more miles to go before they can bite my ankles. I was doing some thinking this morning, and I'm really happy about something. I have more time to myself now over these last few years than I ever have. Why is that? Well, because I decided to get rid of the people that were in my life that were using me to solve their problems and giving nothing back in return. Now, I'm not saying, all my friends, have to pay me or, buy me dinner if I come over and help them out. That's not the case. These people, every time they have a problem, I'm on their speed dial, and they call me up and try to get me to come over or help walk them through their problems, etc. I decided a couple years ago to cut these people out of my life that don't call me to see how I'm doing, don't visit, don't help me with my problems. Okay, this doesn't include the few friends on this fingers here, on this hand here. I got good friends on this hand, only a couple of them. Ever since I was young, I was always tapped by people in my life to help them out. And so I guess I was conditioned at a young age to have this type of behavior. I was becoming the manager of a very large apartment building, and I didn't realize it. Even as a young boy, the neighborhood kids would come over and get food out of the refrigerator and use me for, they were bored and they wanted to be entertained, and, they would use me for whatever, playing catch or, fixing their motorcycle or whatever. I didn't realize that this stuff was going on, in the early years of my life. Well, when you help someone out, you get a good feeling from it. It's like creating something. Wow, I created that, I fixed that. And you drive away from their house with this feeling of accomplishment. Well, you're getting that feeling when you're helping someone else accomplish something they need to get done. I'm the guy that everyone calls in my neighborhood when something breaks. I know someone else that also helps people out in my neighborhood when something else breaks also. I don't charge these people for anything. I take care of their problems. I solve their problems. I give them advice, whatever they need, I didn't realize how much time I actually spent helping other people out. I'd get home from work and there'd be a few phone calls, some texts. I'm being pulled away from relaxing, concentrating on my stuff, fixing stuff around my house. I'm not complaining or whining. I had a problem. I was addicted to helping people that didn't care about me in return. So, about a year ago, I decided to cut someone out of my life that I've known for a long time. I always wanted to go to dinner with him and his wife and be around him, doing other things than solving his problems all the time. I realized all I did in this relationship was help this other person out. And I realized they never help me out. Every time the phone rang, it wasn't, hey, how's Russell Does Stuff doing? It's, hey, I got a problem. What do you think I should do? Or, hey, this is broke. Do you think you can swing by on Saturday? For 30 years I did that. Maybe 35 years for this particular person, you know. And I would drive away going, you know, hey, I got to hang out with so-and-so. You know, what a good time. I realized it was only a good time for one person, you know, the person I was helping. And I had this false feeling of I just created or helped somebody, etc. feeling. So I cut this person out of my life. And I was worried about it. I didn't, you know, I care about people, you know, and I finally said, hey, we don't go to dinner, we don't do this, we don't hang out, we don't do this, and all I do is help you. Your golf cart tire's flat. Who orders you the tire? Who puts it on? Me. Your air conditioning ain't working. Who helps you? Me. You know, you can't lift weights during COVID. Who brings you over their weightlifting equipment? Me. You know, who loans you money when you need money and you can't run to the bank? Me. You know, you name it. Everything you can think of. And like the guy up the road, how many problems can a person have? Well, this guy had a lot. He was bigger and stronger than me, smarter than me, bigger house than me, worth more than me, you know? He needed me for everything. Everything. I'm like, can this guy do anything besides, you know, buy things, you know? Not saying having 14 motorcycles is bad and having a garage the size of a fire department's bad. But if he can do all those things, I'm sure he can do other things. His mower breaks. I'm fixing his mower, you know. AC's dripping and I'm over there checking it out, you know. But finally I just stopped, you know. He's not someone I want to deal with anymore, you know. I had to let another friend go. I've been helping her fix her stuff for the last 8 years. You know, I call her up, you know, hey, we're having a barbecue. You want to come over and hang out? Do things friends do. No, I can't. You know. She can call me when her garage door's broken, though. You know. I take an hour and drive over to her house, look at her air conditioner, 30 minutes, or her garage door, 30 minutes to get there. You got to talk, hang out, talk about what's broken, you know, little chit chat. By the time I got home, it was 2 hours. I could have spent doing something else, you know. And I'm not saying don't help the, you know, 122-year-old lady up the road, you know, put a light bulb in her refrigerator. I'm not saying not to do that. But this person, she not only tried to get me involved with her problem, but then got someone else involved with that problem and ended up being ripped off for $4,000. You know? I reached out to her and I said, hey, you got ripped off. Somebody's robbing you blind here. Oh, Russell, I don't have time to talk about it. Well, you had time to talk about it the day before. You know, you didn't do what I instructed you to do. So now she's going to whine about spending $4,000 on a $15 part. She should have put a $15 belt on her garage door opener. It was a rubber belt. I'm going to guess it was 15 bucks. The guy ripped her off, rebuilt her whole garage door opening system. I'm frustrated she got ripped off. Now I'm frustrated I went over there to tell her what to do. And, you know, I made her problem my problem. Now I'm thinking about her problem all weekend, you know. I said, this is going to stop. I'm done helping her out. I'm done helping out around the yard. I'm done helping with any. The water isn't working. Pressure switches, whatever, you know. I'm done. And it's nice. It's nice to walk by your phone and know that Nobody's calling you to one-way street you. You know, I let go of another one-way street person about 7 months ago. Every time something at his house was broken, the swimming pool light bulb isn't on. Why? You gotta call me up. You know, the heat siphon's not working. I'll come over and I'll look at it. Can you come over and look at it? You know, thermostat's not working. This is not working. You know, hey, you know, I say, hey, you know, we're headed up somewhere during the weekend. You want to come? No, I'm busy. You know, it's just one way street people. And I'm making this video so that I can share my experiences with people and let you know that there is hope. You can cut these people out of your life. All right. When are you going to decide enough's enough? I was 50 years old and I took a look at my life, you know, and I said, hey, I have spent a good chunk of my life helping people that don't call, don't stop by, don't check on me, and don't help me. You know, hey man, can you give me a hand doing so? I don't know anything about that. That's their first answer. I don't know anything about that. Why don't you come over and hang out with me and maybe you'll learn something. Maybe you can help out your neighbor with something, you know? However the puzzle fits, you know. I'm not whining or complaining. This is a very positive video. It's your life. It's my life. We only get one, unless you believe in, you know, reincarnation and you come back eight times or whatever. And, you know, if you haven't been good, you may come back as a goat, you know. Or if you've been really good, you may come back as Elvis or something, you know. Or a movie star or something, you know. So if you believe in that kind of stuff, you know, cool. But you only got one life. Stop giving hours and days to people that just use and take advantage of you. You know, that's hurt my business by allowing these people to do that kind of stuff to me. You know, well, it's my fault. I allow it to begin with. I'm not blaming them. You know, I've enabled that type of a relationship with people, you know. I could have made a phone call, a business deal, spent more time getting ready to go somewhere, you know. When you stop everything you're doing and you go out and you help somebody, that limits the time you have to do something you want to do that day, you know. So I just realized the other day that, wow, it's nice not having these people lean on you like that anymore, you know. It's been a game changer, you know. If they really are your friends, they'd come over and go, hey, Russell does stuff. Let's talk about this. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. You know, I understand every time I call you, I need something. And I'm not asking you how you're doing or, you know, if you need anything or any of that. And when I do let that slip out, I'm only using that to segue into my problem, you know. I have a good buddy named Greg. I've known him since I was 14 years old. And we joke around. He'll call me up and I'll pick the phone up. What do you need? And we just start laughing because the same thing happens to him, you know, except he drives around with a truck loaded with tools, you know. When you ask him for help, he brings Home Depot with him, you know. So it's funny, you know, and he'll call me up, hey man, just seeing how you doing. I ain't heard from you in a while. That is so refreshing, you know, to have that kind of relationship with people. How are you doing? You know, when's the last time somebody called you and said, hey man, I was thinking about you. How are you doing? You know, well, today I'm thinking about you guys out there and wondering how you're doing. You know, is the life being sucked out of you by one-way street type people? If it is, use me as an example. I'm still alive. I didn't vanish into vapor when I said, hey, Eric, I'm not gonna help you out no more, buddy. It's all right. It's all right. The next day, you know, things were all right. You know, I worried a little bit about, you know, what's people going to think of me? I don't care anymore. The lady with the garage door, she knows all the other times I helped her and stuff. And, I'm not picking her out or picking on her and stuff, but I'm done. I could save you thousands and thousands of dollars, and then when you really, 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 really need some advice, you don't take it. You get ripped off for $4,000. Stick up for yourself. The only person that really cares about you is you and these friends on this hand. Okay? This is important. It's your life. Take it back. I'm proof of that. You can take it back. And guess what? I'm a lot happier. This is my life, not theirs. Let them do what they've done to me to other people. Maybe they'll watch this video and go, hey, where you been? I've been fixing all Eric's stuff, and I don't know why. Now I know why. Because you quit being someone's doormat. Well, this is Russell with Russell Does Stuff. And you like this kind of stuff, like and subscribe. If you're just passing through and this isn't your thing, I get it. Maybe this video will help some of you guys out. Maybe not. But that's what's on my mind. And it's okay to say no. And it's okay to snip some of these peeps out of your life and take back your time and your life. Because in the end, it's yours. This is your life. False feelings. Feeling good, helping out others who don't give two beeps about you. It is what it is, brother. Well, thanks a lot for stopping by again, and catch you on the next one.